Welcome back, everybody, to the Blazer Victory Podcast Patreon bonus feed. And we've got a special guest, BJ Jones, here to talk all things about Alabama State football. BJ, I think this is the third or fourth time we've had you, and we all talked about it. It's not officially college football season until BJ gets on the Blazer Victory Podcast. So welcome again, man, and how things been?
And everything's been good, man. This best time of the year, favorite time of
Mhm.
the year. We actually got started last night here in Atlanta in the MEX SWAC Challenge. So it was kind of good to get that week zero game in and kind of see what you have. Man, but looking forward to it, man. It feels like once the season ends, we're on this almost roller coaster ride of just trying to get there, make it through recruiting, make it through the spring, and then now you have the transfer portal. Who's leaving? Who's coming in? And
Mhm.
now we're finally here and we get to actually play some football. So
Let's go.
best time
And
of the year.
hey, and every Blazer fan, he's a former Blazer. Follow him on Twitter at Inside HBCU Ball, and of course check out hbcunightly.com. BJ's the go-to source when I have a question and we have a question about HBCU football. BJ, so we talked a little bit about Alabama State earlier. Just not a lot of information about Alabama State. But what can you tell us about the Hornets just in general for Blazer fans this coming Thursday night?
They're a football team that has had everything that you need to compete outside of one place. And that's been the constant for them since 2022. If you look at Alabama State, the last 3 years, they've been ranked in the top 10 in almost every defensive statistical category in the FCS. And you got to think Jackson State steamrolled everybody last year. Alabama State came in with a fifth string quarterback, a kid named Kareem Keys from Minor High School right there in Birmingham, who's a receiver. All right. Keys is only about 5'9. He's about 160. All right. That was a 6 point game. That, like, they defensively, they're big, they're physical. I heard Coach Dilfer on uh, the Mac and Cube show, and he said that this is an FBS. This is an FBS defense, and he's right. Size wise, they are really lengthy on the defensive line. They're big and athletic at linebacker, and they are big and athletic at in the defensive backfield. Adrian Maddox is a kid that transferred from Alabama State, strapped it up for UAB. He was all conference safety. They lose him and they just plugged in another all conference safety. Like, it was just, we just, they just plug them in. And last year they went 6-3 at the corners, 6-3 and 6-1 at the corners. They went 6-1, 6-2 at the safeties. This year they're going about 6-2, 6-1 at the corners. They have a 6'4" kid that's going to be back there playing safety. That's from right here at Buford High School in the Atlanta metro area. But they're fast, they're physical, but there's only been one question about them. It's been the quarterback. And we'll see if that question gets answered this year for them.
Yeah, first I want to rewind for a little bit and just say, like, are you like our first uh unofficial official guest? Like, I know you've been on here like the most, and I honestly told them in the group chat, like, yo, it feels like football season when we get you out. I'm like, oh man, like we going back with BJ back on the. It don't feel right, man. I think so. It's been this the third or fourth time I
It's
think.
the third time I did A and
Mhm.
T,
Mhm.
Alcorn, and now Alabama State. It's become our late summer tradition.
Yes, yes, I like that. I like that sound. And I think here at BBP, as the years go on, I want to continue to like create. It's almost like a little tradition, like that we going on. I want to be able to do that with a lot of different guests, but I know for a fact that we're gonna have BJ here. And also I think it's important. We was just talking about like week 0, and we was just, you have HBCU nightly, and you keep up with. I don't know how you keep up in this era of the transfer portal. I don't know how you keep up with it, but one thing I think it's very good for the HBCUs because now it's really highlighting, right, the talent. We was just talking about how Alabama State can recruit, but just around HBCU, how it's highlighting their talent and they're getting more opportunities to go to other teams, and then they can show their talent and then go to the NFL. What you think about that idea of highlighting talent and it actually being good, at least for the players? Probably not for the program if they keep on getting taken from, but what you think about that idea for the players?
I think it's been a double-edged sword. It's been good to see those kids who aspire to go on into some other places and then do well there. Um, but then also it's also that kind of hurts the program a little bit. But you have coaches that have adjusted very very well in this climate. They kind of understand it. So the transfer portal taketh away, it also giveth. Last
Right.
night, Southern Trey Holly transfer from LSU had a big game for us last night. Both of our running backs were FBS transfers. You see some of the FBS transfers that have come into the HBCU space in this era of the transfer portal. So it's one of those things that have benefited, and we've seen those kids come into the HBCU space from some G5 and Power Five schools and be drafted like like a James Houston or some of these other kids that have been drafted here recently out of the HBCU space.
Yeah.
BJ, I want to talk to you. You mentioned that quarterback position for Bama State, and I want to ask you about. I think it's Andrew Body.
Andrew Body, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Body. I was listening, reading up a little bit on him, and from what I understand, he was a transfer from Texas Southern. He came to Bama State and started one game. I think it was this past season. Got injured, but before he got injured, had whatever it was, 15 rushes for like 134 yards and 2 scores. And so you first think to yourself, okay, was he just a runner? But then you look at the Texas Southern stats and see that he can throw as well. And so just amateur looking at the statistics and the box scores, it seems like UAB's got a real dual threat quarterback potentially that they're going to face on Thursday night, and I think that's good. I was looking back at some of the box scores here in the last 2 years, and whether it was NCAT or Alcorn State, UAB hasn't really been tested in the air in game one. I think it was North Carolina A&T, I think, was 2 of 8. They came in with questions at quarterback, and then last year against Alcorn State, it wasn't much better, 9 of 21 through the air, 60 yards. And so I guess first, do you think Andrew Body's going to get the green light, going to get the start potentially for Bama State? And if he does, how do you see him faring against this UAB defense, which, let's be honest here, on our first preview of the season, has had its struggles in the first 2 years under Trent Dilfer?
Andrew Body is one of those kids from Corpus Christi, Texas. He's the second leading passer in Texas high school football history. He was a kid, because he's from Corpus Christi, was kind of overlooked by a lot of major schools. And he went to Texas Southern and was runner-up for the SWAC Freshman of the Year behind Shedeur Sanders. He was second team all freshman at Texas Southern, ran into some injuries his second year. And then transferred to Alabama State, and then first game of the season, really in camp, was injured, which kind of impacted his throwing, but then was injured in that game down in Miami against North Carolina Central. He's a kid that, if you talk to him, very humble kid. He's a student of the game. Andrew right now, he's about 6'3", he's about 215. He's athletic. He can do it with his feet. But he's also a passer. He comes from a high school in the state of Texas that put it up quite a bit. But he's a true dual threat. And a lot of people in Hornet Nation are going to be looking to see, is he the answer? Is he the missing piece? Like we stated, of a football team that has had everything except one position. I'm pretty sure if you looked at Alabama State scores over the last 2 years, you saw a lot of 14-10, 13-10, 16-14. It's been old school football because all they had was the ground game and then the huge defense. But now with body, and if he's healthy and if he can produce at the rate that he did when he was at Texas Southern, that bodes well for them. And I think that would be a very interesting test for that Blazer defensive unit. And speaking of that unit, you guys got a gift from Alabama State, defensive coordinator who made the change and now is on that staff with Trent Dilfer. So he knows that Alabama State offense, the ins and outs, and kind of what to look for.
Was that surprising to you, BJ? Because from the fan perspective, for me, that was one of the most surprising hires for this coaching staff for UAB over the summer. Was not just that Ryan Lewis joined the defensive staff of UAB, but that he joined as a position coach, coaching corners. I think if memory serves me right, he had interviewed for the defensive coordinator position at UAB. I could be wrong with that, but ultimately we landed him at a position group. Was that surprising to you? Because looking at this, we were joking in the offseason. I said, heck, I would have walked over shattered glass to have Ryan Lewis come coach this Blazer defense because of everything you said. I was looking at it just to bounce off what you were saying earlier. Alabama State, the last 3 years in total defense, they were number 3 in FCS in 24 and 23. They were number 15 in 2022. In scoring defense, as another example, they were top essentially 8 all of the last 3 years, number 4 this past year, number 2 the year prior. So this is a guy, Ryan Lewis, who was there the previous 3 years, who was extremely successful. And then to come to UAB, I was just blown away, and I thought it was one of the best hires in this coaching offseason.
Oh, yeah, man. Ryan Lewis, young guy, really got his name at Bethune-Cookman. But he's a young guy, great recruiter. But I think that he's going to make an immediate impact. If you talk to the players at Alabama State, they speak volumes about him. And I think that I know that a lot of Alabama State people were concerned because Ryan Lewis had built a defensive presence and reputation while he was at Alabama State up under Coach Eddie Robinson. And I think that he'll do the same. Was I shocked that he took the cornerback's role? No, because it's one of those things that when you play FCS football, it's one of those things that happen. We've seen head coaches leave the FCS ranks to become position coaches at the FBS, level. It's just one of those things. It's part of the game. Most recently, Florida A&M lost Willie Simmons, who became the running backs coach at Duke last year, and now is the head coach at Florida International. So we've seen those things. It's kind of those things like where, hey, we know at the FCS level these things kind of tend to happen. I do believe this. I believe that Ryan Lewis will be a head coach soon. Where, who knows? But I know that this past year, which with a lot of the HBCU openings for head coach, his name was in the mix for a lot of those. And I think that him getting this position at the FBS level was only going to help kind of springboard his career forward.
So what you're saying is our pass defense is going to be good this year.
It should. It should.
Yeah. I thought about the profile as you was talking. I thought about the profile, the corners you were saying. I was like, that makes sense because Perry Fisher, Tamarian Crumpley, the guys that we have recruited, we have Jalen Ferguson. Now, all these guys are like 6'2" and up, right? That we brought in. So it kind of makes sense that we going that way. But to stick on the offense, we spoke about the defense. That offensive line and those running backs. Tell me what you know about them.
Well, this is an offensive line that's pretty much returning everybody. This unit has been together for a couple of years. They're solid. They're big. A lot of 6'3" and plus and over guys. So they have that they got some nice running backs. One of the running backs they had was the running back for us a few years ago. Carl Lagon is from Prattville, Alabama. Played at Southern his freshman year, and then left and went to JUCO route. Now he's back at Alabama State. He's a guy that's going to get some carries. He's a speed guy. Not really a between the tackles kid. He's a speed guy. One of the other running backs that they have down there, because I think Alabama State is going to go running back by committee. I think that you'll probably see about 3 or 4 guys touch the football for them from the running back position. Marcus Harris is another kid that they have from Jackson, Mississippi. A kid that I think he was either wanted to go to Jackson State, but he was real high on Jackson State's list. Somehow he ends up on Alabama State. At Alabama State, and a kid that people in the Birmingham area is going to be familiar with is Ashton Ashford. Say that 2 times fast. He was running back at Ramsey High School, won a state championship for Ramsey. Was one of the leading rushers in the state of Alabama. A lot of people pegged him to go to the FBS level, but he ended up at Alabama State. Made an immediate impact as a freshman. He's coming to a sophomore year. He's the bell cow, in my opinion, at that running back position for them. But I do think they're going to go. I think they're going to go running back by committee. Excuse me. But there's a running back that they're very, very high on, and that's Jamari Holtzclaw. I think he's going to be running. I think he had a number change for them. I think he's going to be wearing number 2. Explosive kid from out of the state of Florida. Can catch it, can run it, runs with a lot of power, even though he's not the biggest kid in the world. So I think that you'll see, like I said, multiple running backs for them. I think it's going to be a by committee type of thing.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned Holtzclaw because he stood out to me because I think it was as a true freshman. He had 472 yards in the score, averaged 6.5 yards per carry in 7 games played. He got injured, it looks like, towards the end of the season. But as a true freshman to come out there and ball out like he did, it sounds like Alabama State's going to have a lot of options in the backfield. And I don't know how much you know about their receivers, but as I was reading through some stuff today, it sounds like they've got quite a few weapons. I know they got a transfer coming in receiver, I think from Wofford, but it sounds like you just look at the skill positions. Like this is a team that's going to have options. That's, again, you've got the dual threat quarterback possibility. You've got a good running back room, and you've got a few options at the receiver too. So, do you know anything about the receiver position? Is it kind of a committee approach as well, or is there one guy that would stand out for you?
The one of the guys that a lot of people have been talking about is AJ Harrell from the state of Florida. I think he's from Daytona Mainland High School, if I'm not mistaken. He was a highly touted kid. He's also a track guy. So he's on that SWAC championship winning track team. And if you keep up with with track and field, Alabama State has had a few Olympians these past few Olympics. He's a guy that's been making a lot of noise and buzz during camp that a lot of Alabama State people have been talking about. Kareem Keys, who played quarterback the majority of the year last year due to injury, has moved into that kind of a receiver, do-it-all guy, kind of gadget guy. He's small. You look at him, you'll probably say, hey, who brought their kid to work today? Very small, right? But man, he's a heck of an athlete. He's a tough kid. He plays the quarterback position. Elijah Bean is another young man that they got from the transfer portal who transferred from Baylor. He's 6'5". He goes about 210. He's been really in the weight room since he's transferred because when he got there, I think they were saying he was like 180-ish. He's got up to about 210. They've put some weight on him. Christian Pitts, kid from out of the state of Texas, as a receiver, very explosive. They have a combination of receivers. They got big receivers. They got those 6'3", 6'4" guys, but then they got a lot of those like minus 5'10" guys that are quick and fast. They're very, very dangerous in space. And then they also go really, really big at the tight end position and really athletic at the tight end position.
So, and one quick question, we got a corner, Delvin Gully. I believe Gully is from A&M, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know
Mhm.
anything about his game that you can tell us about him?
Yeah, I think y'all got two guys from the HBCU level because I think y'all
We
got a
got
linebacker from Miles too.
we got a DN from Miles. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, the end from Miles.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's going to be
Jermichael
starting
Rogers.
for us.
He's
Yeah.
a beast.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you'll have
Joey.
more.
Yeah.
I've been getting familiar with these guys, but you probably been watching them and know them a little bit more. I was wondering from your perspective what you could tell us.
The kid from Miles is a beast, man. He caused a lot of havoc on that defense for Coach Sam Shade. He was one of the guys when he got into the portal. I think a lot of people just kind of assumed naturally that he would follow Coach Shade to Alabama A&M. But he was disruptive in the pass game as well as the run. He could do both. Stout. The kid from A&M, because A&M has been so bad recently, I really hadn't paid any attention to. Um, A&M was one of those schools. A&M had the opposite problem of Alabama State. Alabama A&M could score on anybody. Me, you, Jimmy, and we can just go pick some guys on the way to the football field. We could score 30 points on A&M's previous defenses. Wasn't that hard of an ask.
That sound
But
like
he was a
UAB.
kid that
Sound like
stood.
UAB in the past. In the past.
But he was a kid that stood out. I remember because most of that team did hit the transfer portal when Coach Sam Shade got there. I remember he was a kid that had a lot of suitors, which was kind of not like some of his counterparts that got in there with him. Had a lot of suitors, and then I saw that he ended up at UAB. I think that from what I've been hearing from my A&M people, that he was one of the bright spots on that defense, and there weren't many under the Cornell Maynard regime. There weren't many bright spots defensively, but he was one of them. So I think that he's a young man that you probably need to get a little bit familiar with. Because one thing I can say, man, UAB doesn't miss much on the portal.
No. I think we
Miss
got,
much more on the portal.
especially when we go HBCU for whatever reason. A lot of the HBCU guys that we've had, they've been absolute like godsends for us. So I'm excited. I think Jermichael Rogers, he's the kid from Miles. He's from what you've been saying, it matches up from how his spring and his camp has been. I think he's gonna start off as one of the starting DNs. I'm like excited about. I'm cautiously optimistic about this Blazer group. I've been looking at everybody we've got in the portal. We've got depth. We got experience at the coaching staff now. From Steve Russ down to Ryan Lewis. So I'm interested in this matchup because you talk about the size and the athleticism around the board from Alabama State. Like it's a FBS team from that sense. They probably a lot of times when it comes to that level of football, it's more so like depth. It's
Mm-hmm.
not top end talent, it's the depth. So, and if there's one thing that UAB has kind of in the past that we struggle with that also. But looking at this team and how we've recruited, we've kind of gotten guys from St. Francis and Miles, and from all these highly production guys, right?
Yep.
So I'm excited about the depth that we have, and I want to see this team through the fourth quarter, like what we look like against Alabama State, and seeing if we can continue to kind of enforce our will because I think a lot of people are sneaky kind of picking this as almost like an upset game because of that athleticism and that size that you talk about. And so I think we'll learn a lot about both teams here. This game as much as we can. And then especially if Alabama State's quarterback. Do you think they'll play one quarterback all game or how does this look?
Um, Alabama State has a good problem. All their quarterbacks last year got hurt. It was bad, right? Um, But they brought in a few guys at the quarterback position on top of what they already had. So you knew Andrew Body was coming back. You knew that James Hayes, a kid from that was very, when I say highly touted, he's one of the top HBCU signees a year ago. James Hayes from out of Fort Lauderdale played at Coconut Creek High School. Look him up. When you go and you beat St. Thomas Aquinas, people start paying attention. And he's a big kid, about 6'4", 230. So he basically is going to be a redshirt freshman this year. They also brought in a few transfer quarterbacks, one from Georgia State, one from Jacksonville State. They have a plethora of quarterbacks, but the two that have been the guy has been Andrew Body and James Hayes, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale. And if things are going right, I think you only see one. If you see two, I think something has happened that may make the Hornet Nation a little. It might give them a little deja vu.
And BJ,
Uh,
what do we expect out of this Alabama State offense? Are they more so gun, or can they line up in the pistol, or what have you seen in years past out of this Alabama State offense?
Alabama State really is one of those teams that's a throwback.
Mm,
They still have a fullback, Dylan Creech,
wow.
right? And Dylan Creech is one of those guys that stands out because he's a glass eater. He's one of those cats that he just want contact. That's it.
I hate to tell
Um,
you, Trent Dilfer's getting him in the portal after
yeah,
this season.
Let's go.
you
Let's
You just
said
go.
described him as like he's going to be on our team.
you said glass eater. It's over
Yeah.
Bruh, like Dylan Creech is one of those kids, man. I think Dylan Creech is about 6 feet. He's about 240. Um, Play high school ball. I think he's from Leroy, small town, South Alabama.
Mhm.
Um, Dude, you watch him on anything. He lines up at fullback. That he can't catch the ball. Very great hands, but you just watch him, and he just enjoys blocking. Like he didn't care if he didn't have the ball. Alabama State will go double tight. They will go under center. They're an old school football team. They have zero interest on beating you outside, like zero.
So we got a team full of glass eaters, baby.
Well,
Tough
I was
on
gonna
tough.
say, hey guys, this is gonna be a great like precursor to Navy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, are you gonna be a physical? You know, you have to beat this team. So I like it. I like it.
I will
Yeah,
say
man.
this: the that 2019 team from Alabama State. You guys remember the game that almost gave everybody a
You,
heart attack,
you
right?
needed to goal line stand.
Need a goal line stand to beat them. That Alabama State would get blasted by this Alabama State team.
Yeah. Oh
They are
man.
Oh,
not that Alabama State team from 2019. I think won 3 or 4 games. The Alabama State under Eddie Robinson has been a SWAC championship contender. They've been 1 game away.
mhm.
Um, they are they're different. They're a team that preaches physicality. That's Eddie Robinson's MO. And Eddie Robinson, if you guys are familiar with All-American linebacker at Alabama State, drafted by the Houston Oilers. They spent 10 years in the NFL, National Football League. That's their MO. And that's one of the reasons why they've been so good in the SWAC and in the FCS, because in this world of spread and speed, and they have those things, but Alabama State's going to say, okay, we are lining up in double tight. There's a fullback wearing number 40 named Dylan Creech right here. We're going to run the ball right here. I want you to be here when we get there. That's their style.
And so, like, I'm not even worried about that from the offensive standpoint. I think we have the dogs on the defense this year to really. I think I'm interested to see this team against more creativity on
Mm-hmm.
offense. Defensively is where I think, so for Blazer fans that's here that's going to be watching this, defensively I think is where I think Alabama State traditionally they can get pretty creative on defense, right? They can send multiple looks, they can send backers. We know about the athleticism and the size that they have. So I think that the key matchup will be this offensive line against this Alabama State front seven. Like that's what I think. And then I am on the back end. I am interested to see. We have a lot of new receivers. I am interested to see how much we sub and if we can get separation against these long, lengthy defensive backfield. I wonder about that, but this is gonna be very telling. Can we ID these guys? I want to see different blitzes. I want to see different formations on defense. I need to see if our offensive line is ready for the test because I think for Navy when they're going to be coming in and they're going to look at that tape and be like, these dudes they couldn't ID this simple blitz or they're not physical up front. And I think Bama State, just listening to you, I'm going to be keying in on that. I think it's going to be telling to see how we're going to be for the rest of the year. So I definitely appreciate your analysis. I feel like I know what to look for now. I know what I'm keying in on. I'm keying in on if this is this gonna be a 14-10, 14-13 game, or can UAB get some kind of separation, or does one of those quarterbacks from Alabama State have they figured it out? Is
Yeah.
it now? Is it more of a 34-31 maybe? So we'll see. And I think it's going to be our offensive line versus Alabama State's defensive front seven, and
Yeah.
we'll see.
I'm with you. I think that games are going to be won and lost up front. They're they're big on the interior of the defensive line. Their defensive ends are a little smaller, kind of athletic. They get after the passer well. There's a kid that transferred from Lenore Ryan that they're very high on at the defensive tackle position. His name escapes me right now. Cameron Gordon. Transferred from Lenore Ryan, was an All-American at Division II level. They're very high on him. Bad news for Alcorn people. Alcorn lost one of the best linebackers to Alabama State. Transferred over Kayvon Henderson, who's transferred over there. He's at Alabama State now. And we talk about the length in that secondary. And they're lengthy. Got a kid over there, BJ Caesar from Houston, Texas, transferred from Air Force. Will play corner, will play safety. They got him listed anywhere 6'2", 6'3 and a half, about 215. They got a kid from right there in the city of Birmingham from Bessemer City, plays corner. He's 6'3". They go really lengthy on the back end. That's Eddie Robinson's MO. And new defensive coordinator Billy Gresham, who was the linebackers coach. He and Ryan they have the same mentality. They're kind of one and the same. So I'm interested to kind of see that chess match. I do think that one of the advantages that the UAB has outside of the scholarships is having Ryan Clark on that sideline and knowing the DNA of that program and knowing the ins and outs and being able to communicate that to the rest of the staff. I think that that's something that's going to be huge and will pay dividends on Thursday night.
What kind of crowd, do you think Bama State's going to have show up for this game? I was looking back, and that 2019 matchup was also on a Thursday night, and the announced attendance for that game was almost 40,000. UAB was coming off 2018, in which they beat Middle Tennessee in the conference championship game and won their first bowl game, and momentum was super high. So right now that's not the case. So haven't even really thought much about what the attendance might look like on Thursday night, but I'm excited. In comparison to Alcorn State and NCAT, who would have to travel a little bit further. There's going to be a big Bama State contingency, hopefully here in Birmingham, that chooses to come to the game, as well as looking at a roster that's got close to probably 40 players, from the state of Alabama. So do you think that Bama State's going to show up in pretty good numbers at Protective Stadium on Thursday night? And do you think that most of them are feeling like they've got a shot? Do you think they're walking in Protective Stadium thinking that they've got a shot in this matchup?
I think that Bama State will draw well. Birmingham is their largest alumni base, so they ain't got to travel far. And I think that one of the things that helps is that in the city of Birmingham, you have UAB and Alabama State alumni that live next door to each other. There are family members that are coworkers and that thing only helps with attendance. So I think attendance will be great. I know one of the things that Paul asked me about. Paul, I got your answer. My bad. The Mighty Marching Hornets will be in the building, Paul. I can confirm that. But yeah, they'll be in the building, so that alone will bring out a nice good share of people. But about the fans, they are optimistic because you've been 2 years away from being where you needed to be. You just don't have that one position, and that has been a thorn in their sides. There's been frustration with saying, hey, if we don't get it done, do we need to make the move away from Eddie Robinson, despite like being so close to not have that position? And I think their fans are really, really optimistic and want to see it. And this is an FBS opportunity, which is something that Eddie Robinson has been talking about, having the opportunity to play an FBS team to really kind of prove yourself. So I think there's some optimism there, and we can't forget 2019, the way that ball game went. And they felt like one got away. So I think because of that, I don't think that UAB is going to walk into this game kind of sleepwalking the way that they did in 2019. So I think there's some optimism there. I think that we're in for a good crowd, and hopefully it's a good ball game.
Either way, we're gonna be in there with some drinks, baby. I'm gonna be in there with a couple of drinks. It's time. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for Alabama State to be there. Like you said, you made a good point with like some of your coworkers, your neighbors, or whatever. I was at work. My guy came up to me like, "Oh, y'all ready for the day tomorrow?" He's coming to the game. But it's all in good fun. It's not like Memphis coming. I don't like when the Memphis crowd come.
Who is she? Never heard of
I never
her.
heard of. Yeah, it's but yeah. So I'm excited about that, and like I said, we gonna be in there. I'm gonna be double fisting, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Nah,
$5 domestics, baby.
nah,
Yeah.
it's it's a Thursday. I got to control myself, but I'm excited about this year. I'm cautiously optimistic about this team that UAB has built. I just like the staff. I like the bones of it, and I like the depth, and I think this is a good test because like you said, the fans are optimistic. You sound optimistic about Alabama State, right? And I think they have some pieces that can really test some of our perceived weaknesses. And I really want to see them put to the test. So I can't wait for this year to start. I'm all out of questions. I'm just pumped up. I'm ready to go now.
I'm gonna be paying close attention because, as you guys can see, like John said, I'm a Blazer first. That was signed with UAB out of high school. My wife is a graduate of UAB. Matter of fact, my wife got a bachelor's and a master's from UAB. So
Oh,
That's
okay.
good.
we UAB Blunt Hall alumni.
Okay, Blunt Hall. Yeah.
Got
Okay.
my master's from UAB. So
Yeah.
I'm a Blazer. So concern. I always watch the games and I come to a few, but also looking at it because the next week Alabama State comes to Baton Rouge, and play us at Southern. So I'm gonna be paying attention to kind of see what UAB, what kind of what Alabama State looks like and kind of what look give UAB because 10 days after that, we got them in Baton Rouge in a ball game that's going to be huge down there that's already kind of buzzing and ticket sales look really, really good for that one. So it's going to be really interesting.
Again, hey, Blazer fans, follow BJ on X at Inside HBCU Ball and check out HBCUnightly.com. Last question from me, BJ. Give a final score prediction.
Oh man. Final score prediction. I'm gonna go UAB. Let me go 34-21.
Okay,
Okay,
double digit win. Hey,
yeah.
I take it. I take it.
Alabama State wins if.
They are very, very sound in the kicking game. They block punts, they block field goals, and they don't miss them. They're very, very sound in the kicking game. They're very, very sound defensively. Alabama State wins if you turn the ball over against
Lord.
Alabama State, and they are very
Lord.
active in creating turnovers.
Jalen Kettner, please, please.
They are very active in creating turnovers. If UAB turns the ball over and creates short fields, it could be a long day. And I will tell you this: Andrew Body, wearing number 1, plays quarterback. If you get wild on how he's running the ball, he will pick you apart. If you get wild on how he's throwing the ball and you blitz and you miss, you're not catching him because he's probably gonna be the fastest kid on the field or one of the fastest. But if that happens, then I feel like John will be calling me.
Oh yeah.
Because John calls me. John calls me regularly, or I will text John. All right. I feel like my phone will be going crazy for John from John.
He'll be on a couple beers too.
Hey,
oh
yeah, there you go.
It's gonna be
Hold the
worse.
phone for me.
It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse. And I will tell you, the Football U alumni group chat will be a little bit more active, a little bit more vitriol in there than what we're accustomed to seeing. I thought after Navy last year, it was the worst that it was gonna get.
No. ULM was
ULM was like the
ULM
worst,
was bad.
man.
Yeah.
But Tulane,
okay.
was bad.
Yeah. I had a double-sided question. One more. But UAB dominates if
Control the ball, control up front. He who controls the line of scrimmage controls the game. You are the FBS team. You have more scholarships. You have more depth. Lean on that. Take advantage of that. We know that Alabama State, the first teamers are good. There's not too much drop off on their second teamers, but there are some drop off. Right. Take advantage of those spots. And like I said, don't turn the ball over. Turnovers.
The turnovers got me concerned.
right?
Last year, UAB won the turnover battle in 2 contests: at home against Tulsa and at home against Rice, which were both blowouts. Right? UAB blew those opponents out of the water, but they even lost the turnover battle to Alcorn State 3-2. We had those. I think it was BB had fumbled twice. I think it was earlier in the first half, uncharacteristic of him. And then when Kitna took over, we saw some games with some high volume turnovers. And so I think that's a really good part. I mean, so hopefully that's been such a big point of emphasis. Trent Dilfer's talked about the floor, of this football team and trying to elevate that floor as much as possible. I know some of that has to do with turnovers for sure. So hopefully they're able to not turn the ball over. I saw a few, a couple muff punts yesterday, teams trying to get just adjusted, the week 0 games, this, that, and the other. I will say, last year, a shining point for UAB was the special teams unit. So hopefully a special teams unit can take care of business because some of those hidden yardage is going to be important, and Jalen Kitna and company can take care of the ball. We shall see. We're going to find out in just a few days, aren't we, fellas?
Right. You got too long.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
I definitely appreciate you. I feel prepared. Like it's the tradition, the annual. What did you call it when you first? You said it was
Our
some.
late summer classic.
Yeah, there we go. Late summer
There we go.
classic. I
Late
feel
summer
prepared.
classic. Let's go. All right, hey Darren, go ahead and send us out for this time.
Hey, what are we saying now? Like, are we saying something different on when we send out?
But it's the Patreon, so it don't matter.
Is
Are we
this
doing
gonna be the
page? I
pay?
thought we were doing
Yeah,
a free show.
yeah. I
Oh,
thought this
it's a
was.
free show.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got everybody on video. Everybody's lighting is good, right? Everybody's
bro,
mics are
y'all
good.
didn't tell me when I introed this thing. I said Blazer Victory Podcast Patreon.
Oh, I didn't even hear that part. My bad.
Oh man, just yeah, it'll be all right. Like, yeah, it was whatever. Act like we just released it for free. But just give me something to somebody else send. BJ, you can send us out, man. You the annual tradition guest. I don't know. It's escaping me on what to
You
say.
gonna let the guest close us out?
Oh
Yes,
wow.
because he's a Blazer. He's in the football U alumni chat. I'm not even in
We got to get you
it.
in there then.
Yeah, I gotta get in there.
He's salty.
Man, I got 4 kids, bro. Like I'm just all over the place. I probably don't need to be in there, man. I'm barely keeping up with the group chats that I'm in. So
Oh man, it
yeah,
gets interesting during football season. I'm
I
gonna
don't
tell you
I
that.
don't I don't need to be tainted. I'm, but
All right, Blazer Nation, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm BJ Jones. This is John Duncan. Jimmy Marion over there on the ones and twos, man, getting it done at Darius Smith. Appreciate everybody tuning in and go Blazers.
Let's go.